Shabbat Shalom. Yahweh's peace be with everyone. Please be seated. Okay, let's continue. You're never going to guess what my slideshow title is. You just would never guess. Go ahead. Okay, today we're going to be talking about this Yahweh himself will bring forth the sign. I want you to remember that word sign means signature or frequency, and that Yahweh is bringing these things forward right now in this last time period to prove that he's with this house here. And today the subject is the fiery furnace and the 1 hour burning, okay? And let's go to the next slide. And you put in the gematria, and to them was granted that they should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of saints. And he said to me, right, blessed are those who are called to the marriage supper of the Lamb. Notice you get 2019. Isn't that this year? Gee, what a coincidence. Who's going to be granted this? Because Yahshua is not going to choose brides that are out messing around. Okay, and that's what we're going to be talking about. Remember, Revelation 14:4 says, these are the ones who were not defiled by women. That means forbidden assemblies, God worship, for they are virgins, cleansed and pure. These are the ones who follow the Lamb, Yahshua, wherever he goes. You know, teaching through the house of Yahweh, the teachings of Yahweh's house. These were redeemed from among men, the first fruits to Yahweh and to the Lamb. Remember, that first fruits ties into 1074. That's what it means. Now, virgins cleansed and pure, you see the number 144 there. That's Revelation 14:4, but it's talking about the 144,000 priesthood that Yahweh is choosing at this time for marriage to his son. Clean, white, and pure, 1074. Again, showing the tag number of the witness Yisrael Hawkins. Now, there's a group of boys I talked about last week, known as Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, renamed by the king, Nebuchadnezzar, to, in honor of his gods. There's 3 different gods he named them after. I won't go into that today, but can I have my next slide? The names he gave them are indicative of the time period we're in right now. Can I have the next slide, please? Okay. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, 454, the number on that ship. Okay, you think that's a coincidence? Remember, we're in this last 3.5 years, and we're ready for the burning, the great burning that's fixing to take place, this fiery furnace that Yahweh's going to allow us to go through, and Yahweh's going to make sure that he sees us through, but only if we are 100% in unity with his house. There's no other way. The linen garments in themselves, they won't save us. It's only part of the righteousness, okay, that Yahweh's requiring of us. Now, if you remember that story in Daniel 3, where these 3 young men were put into the fiery furnace. Can I have my next slide? Because they would not worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar set up. Okay, you remember that? All right. Worshiping the golden image, 1674. That's the number of this serpent system. They refused to bow to the gods. They abhorred the gods. If you remember in Daniel 1, it said that Daniel himself determined in his mind he would not eat the food of the king. He set his mind in advance. He used a peaceful solution, and he said, I'm not going to do it, and I'm going to do everything I can not to become defiled. And so did his 3 friends. And remember, they said, when you hear these sounds, the cornet, the flute, the harp, sackbut, psaltery, and every kind of music, bow down, okay? And you see the 666 that the sister talked about this morning. Okay, this system, the 666 system that they want you to bow down to by taking of the king's table. And that means by giving into any form of God worship whatsoever. Anything that's outside the house of Yahweh teachings. Now, Daniel 3:7, you notice, it says, at the time they heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and every kind of music, all the people, nations, and languages fell down and worshiped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. 1976. Wow, what a coincidence. Isn't that when Pastor wrote about the mark of the beast? 666? That the whole world has on them at this time. If you're not in the house of Yahweh, you are in this condition, okay? 666, that's who you're worshiping. Now remember, the head of gold in Daniel's vision in Daniel 2, Nebuchadnezzar was that head of gold. But that image is still set up at this time. Did you know that? And the whole world is bowing to that image, except the house of Yahweh right here. Now, the next part of the story, can I have my next slide? It says in Daniel 3:21, then the three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, were bound with their coats, their trousers, their hats, their headgear, and their other garments still on. And they were thrown in the midst of the burning fiery furnace. The king responded and said, but look, this is in verse 25, this is when they were put in the furnace. The king, Nebuchadnezzar, said, I see four men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they're unharmed. And the fourth one looks like a son of the gods. Okay, now you remember how if you were raised in Christianity, they try to play that off like that was Jesus in the fire with them. Okay, as if he pre-existed, as if he was even named Jesus. You use that name Jesus, you have no frequency. Zero. It doesn't even go through the roof. Okay, that's why Yahweh can't hear you. The frequency's off. It's a 666 frequency. Okay, now, here's how you know he's talking about this work. I'm going to prove it to you. That fourth person, that fourth in the furnace. It's Daniel 3:25, and 325 is the area code of Abilene, right? All right, now remember, they had to bow down at the sound of those instruments, right? Area code 325, Abilene, Texas. It's 325 in gematria, but it's also 2695, which means to sound a trumpet, a trumpeter, an ancient trumpet, okay? Now, who's that ancient trumpet? It's Israel Hawkins, but remember, it goes all the way back to the beginning, okay? Remember that lampstand, all those works come up to 1074. They're all in unity together, okay? We're the last seventh work, okay? Now, can I have my next slide? Let's look at the gematria for what he said. He said, but look, I see four men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they're unharmed. The first number, 767, means, I'll cut through all the chase, it means to rejoice, to overcome. To overcome. The second number, 767 Greek, means without mark. Without the mark of the beast. Those that don't have the mark of the beast will not be harmed by this burning that's fixing to take place. The third number, 4602, it's Abel Beth Makkah. You all remember that sermon about Abel Beth Makkah being in 2 Samuel 20:18? Ask it Abel. Remember, and it was 1074 feet above sea level. So who would that be talking about? Remember, it was moved west. Here we are today, right? Strong's Greek 4602 means calm and peace. That third number, 3830, now get this, it means apparel, clothing, robes, garments. From 3847, to wrap around, like you wrap this talit around. To put on a garment and clothe oneself, to be clothed, gave them clothes, apparel, arrayed. Also arm, like strength. And 3830 in the Greek means all men or people received, welcome, and accepted. Remember Isaiah 56:4-5 says, Yahweh's inviting everyone. Children, women, men, everyone. Remember that scripture in Isaiah 56:4-5 where it says, he'll give you a ministering position and power equal to sons and daughters, if you keep his laws. Okay, can I have my next slide? So let's hit some more on this. Remember he said, I see four men loose. First number, 158, means love. We've been hearing about that, right? It means love. To love, dearly love. Friends, show your love, shows love. It's the very word used in Deuteronomy 6:5 where it says you must love Yahweh. 158 in the Greek means to beg, to desire, to crave. From 441, to learn, asking, to understand, to question, to search for something hidden. Remember Yahshua? He was 12 years old, and he was asking questions. He was searching. He was digging. He wanted to know. That should be our spirit and our attitude. We should be at the classes, you know, the making the connection with Yahweh class, certification, and the peaceful solution. Now, Strong's Greek 948, remember? To abhor, to detest, to turn oneself away from because of the stench. Remember where it said that they abhorred these gods and they turned themselves away from these gods and they determined not to have anything to do with these gods at all. Daniel and his 3 friends. It's used in Romans 2:22. Third number, Strong 626, means a collection of people together, to gather, to bring, brought together, assemble, attach. Remember the Levites attaching themselves to this work, to restore, to receive, reaper. Keep that word reaper in mind. You're going to hear about this Moloch that has the sickle. Strong's Greek 626 means to give an account of oneself, to justify oneself in one's eyes, especially in a court of law. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to prove ourselves to Yahweh that we'll have nothing to do with God worship whatsoever. Now, when you add up all those numbers I just read, it's 1732, and it means beloved one in the Hebrew. It means beloved, my beloved, love. Love, love. You must show this love in order to get through this burning, and I'm going to prove it to you. Strong's Greek 1732 means a showing, proof. From 1731, it means a sign also. It means to indicate by word or act, by your words and your actions. Remember the peaceful solution, actions speak louder than words. It says to prove, to demonstrate, and to show. Now, if you notice, has no love, 666. That's the true love of Yahweh they don't have. They have a form of love, but it's not Yahweh's love. And notice, show their love, 1074. Wow, what a coincidence. The tag number of the witness. Can I have my next slide? Now, when you think of love, what scripture comes in your mind? In volume 2. 1 Corinthians 13, 1 through 8, right? Well, when you put that in the gematria about love, now I want you to notice verse 2. He says, and though I have the gift of prophecy and I understand all deep secrets and all knowledge, and though I have faith so that I can remove mountains, but I have not love, I'm nothing. And though I bestow all my possessions to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned in the fiery furnace, if I don't have love, nothing. Put that in gematria all the way up to love never fails. Notice what you get. First fruits, number 7225, beginning, first fruits, the best. Remember Isaiah 44 or Yeketska 44, the finest, the choicest, the best. That's who Yahweh is going to choose to be the brides of Yahshua. It means chief, head of a family, a priest, principal, rulers, company. Remember that word company and band, because it's about unity. We got to have this unity, okay? This unity that's going to be required. Now, the second number is 4335. You drop the 0 off that number at the end. And notice whose name you see. It's Meshach. Meshach, the very one that was thrown in the fiery furnace. He had true love. Notice it says, one of the 3 friends who with Daniel refused to make themselves unclean by eating food from the king's table, which went against the dietary laws of Yahweh given to the Jews. Also, one of the 3 who were thrown into the fiery furnace for refusing to bow down to a graven image of Nebuchadnezzar, and who were saved by the Moloch. It says angel of the Lord, but it says the Moloch of Yahweh saved them. I'll show you who that is. Strong's Greek 4335 means to pray earnestly, to worship and pray to Yahweh. Okay, and this is what we need to do in these last days. We need to be earnestly praying, not for ourselves, but for one another to get through this fiery furnace that's coming. And it's a fiery furnace up here right now. Okay, but notice 4715 and the third number, it means a crucible, a refining pot. Is that not what we're in right now? Are we not being refined and purged by Israel Hawkins? Remember the purger of the sons of Levi, or the sons and daughters of those who attach themselves to this work? It's from 6884, to test, refine, goldsmith, purge, purge away, refiner, unmixed, can't be any mixture, and pure. Can I have my next slide? The next gematria, where he said the fourth one looks like a son of the gods. The first number, 412, it means one, the other, these men. You see the two witnesses there? Yeah, that fourth work, okay, I'm going to show you here in a minute. That fourth one in the furnace, the fourth one during the time of the fourth beast, right? Okay? Strong's Hebrew 2472 means a dreamer. A dreamer. Now, who would that be? Do you know a dreamer? He dreams with a prophetic meaning, a dreamer. Remember the dreams, the 777? I could see gold flakes falling. And remember the 5:12:15 dream? Yahweh can foretell the future. He's in full control. He's going to bring his house through the fire. Remember Isaiah says, the floods and the fire, he's going to walk through with us. Remember that? He's going to see us through. He's going to protect you just like he said he would. But only if we are in 100% unity with the house of Yahweh. The next number is 2472. It means held in equal honor, of the same kind, like precious. 1417 means to cut, furrow. Strong's Greek 1417 means two men. Two men. I'd already told you who they are. And 1417 in Hebrew, did I already read that? It means cutting from 1413 to gather, assemble together, to cut from 1464, overcome. Overcome, okay? Can I have my next slide? That 1417 is alluding to Revelation 14:17 about the cutting. It says, another Moloch came out of the house which is in heaven, having a sharp sickle. Remember, and he was told to thrust in the sharp sickle and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. Remember this treading of the grapes of wrath. Remember this last 3.5 years. That's going to be our job. Are you going to be teaching the nations? You know that, right? The war-raging nations. That's our commission. This isn't time to slow down right now, house of Yahweh. This is time to pick up the pace, the frequency, right? Okay. And it says, when you put in, and another Moloch came out of the house, which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. The first number is 738 from 717 to gather. Second number 4428 means Moloch. And Strong's Hebrew 4453 means overseer. You see how that just ties right into the witness Israel Hawkins in these last days? Well, maybe that's not enough. Let's go to the next one. How about this one? The fourth one. The fourth one, gematria. First number 155 means garment. It means glory, a mantle, a robe, splendid. From 145 meaning glory, magnificent, a mantle, cloak, robe, amplitude. Amplitude? Doesn't that have something to do with frequency? Amplitude. What would that be doing there? Amplitude means the sound of a wave or electrical signal. It's strength, actually. It's talking about the strength of that signal. Now, 155 in the Greek means to question, to learn, to ask. Again, we went through that before, to search for something hidden. Strong's Hebrew 950, actually, that's supposed to say 930. I don't know why I put 950. It's 930, and it means beast. Beast. Remember the fourth beast during this time period. Okay, the fourth beast. Strong's Greek 930 means to confirm, to establish, to make firm, to firmly establish, unshakable, firmly grounded. Remember, that's what we've got to become through this testing. We've got to be firmly grounded. Strong's Hebrew 652, the third number, means darkness, gloom. Get this, spiritual unreceptivity. That means there's no receiver. You can't receive Holy Spirit. You can't receive Spirit Holy. You refuse Spirit Holy, you're going to be cut off. It means calamity. From 651, a day of gloominess, very dark. Remember what the prophet said, a day of thick darkness. That's what's coming upon us. We're in it now, the last 3.5 years. Very dark. Strong's Greek 652 means a messenger, one sent on a mission, to send forth, a messenger, to order to go to a place appointed, to send on a mission. Yes, we're going to be sent. We're by the one sent on this mission in these last 3.5 years. Can I have my next slide? I'm almost done. The fourth one, when you add it up, you get 1737. And again, you get loving, beloved, love. We got to show this love. Strong's Greek 1737 means to put on, to be clothed, invested with a garment. To put on, to clothe, be clothed. To invest with clothing, to sink into a garment, to array. And Pastor says, now get this is the second book, chapter 7, verse 77, 777. Here's what he said. Yes, if indeed we will be found invested with a garment. That's a garment of righteousness like that shown in Revelation 19, not being naked. Remember, the ones who come in without the wedding garments were kicked out, bound hand and foot, and cast into outer space where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. And Yahweh says they came in without the righteousness. Well, what is righteousness? Well, part of it is getting measured back there today and getting your robes, right? That's part of it. That's part of it. I thought it was an amazing coincidence that the great Kohan Kanath was chosen to measure, when Kanath means wing, like a talit, wings of the talit. That's interesting. I don't know if you knew that. Now, ask any Christian and he cannot tell you. Read Deuteronomy 6:25 and he'll tell you what righteousness is. Now, my last slide. This week, Pastor's turning 85. You all remember that, right? On 8/28? Let's see if it's a coincidence what's taking place in 2019, like I showed you about the robes being granted in 2019 at the beginning. So from Pastor's birth date to his birth date this week is 31,046 days. Drop the 0. 3146 means judgment of Yahweh, valley of decision. Valley of decision. We're in the decision now. 3146 in the Greek means to scourge, of Yahweh's purifying love in temporal suffering, severe pain, and the eternal interest of the believer. To squeeze. Squeeze. Remember Abel Beth Makkah, the house of squeezing, pressure? The weeks is 4,435. 4435 in Hebrew means queen, queens, kings, kings, kingdom, royal. From 4427, Moloch, to be or become a king or queen, to reign, to induct into royalty. Isn't that exciting? And 4435 in the Greek means hard scrubbing. Hard scrubbing. Yeah, we're gonna have some hard scrubbing to get our garments clean, right? Some testing. Maybe we're gonna rub each other the wrong way sometimes, right? Now, I don't know about you, but I want to have that frequency signature of the man clothed in linen that Daniel saw, that we're going to be talking about soon. 1934. By the way, subtract 1934 from frequency of the 5,000. Subtract 1934 from 5,000. That's your homework. Look it up. At this time, if you'd all please stand. It's been a great honor and opportunity. Be like those boys, young men, and everybody, all you young children here. At this time, I'd like to turn it over. May Yahweh bless you, to a great priest in Yahweh's house, the great Kohan Ilya Hawkins.